Hey, welcome back, Overwatchers, to the UGC League Overwatch Season 6 NA Gold here in 2018. I am the Rapture here with my man JJSkywalker, kicking off the season with a Week 1 matchup between Forsaken and iNFAMOUS. If you are unfamiliar with these teams, iNFAMOUS has been around for quite some time, but they're up against Forsaken, a team that just got together for this season, so this should be an exciting best-of-3 matchup, starting out on Kings Row, then to Gibraltar, and then capping off on Lijiang Tower if we need the tiebreaker. JJ, it's been a little while. How you doing?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a long time. Hope everybody had a good New Year's, good Christmas. Pretty good, and I'm excited to see what the players have brought in after the breaks.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, starting off on Kings Row, it is a best-of-3, so unlike Open Division or maybe even Overwatch League, which is happening right now, a lot less time to adapt and to download the other teams, so these guys are really going to have to break out with the best they possibly have. And in this meta, we're going to see probably shades of both dive and deathball compositions breaking out on Kings Row. Out on, I believe, iNFAMOUS will be on the right side in the red. Ziltoid, Zeke, Reese's Feces, Ihiku, Yatara, and Party. And they're going for like I said, shades of dive, but also they have the Widowmaker support. They have the Doomfist. They are possibly running a Torb, which we'll see. You know, still haven't started off the round just yet. And then on the blue side for Forsaken, Rampikes, Honeybee, Spooty, Landgulls, Zafkiel, and JK. They are running a deathball, somewhat deathball, but also taking advantage of the long hit scan with 76 will be on that high ground, and then the added spam coming from the Junkrat.
And we'll see what they're able to pull out here. Looks like they will be running the Mercy, even with the additional changes. But either way, even after the changes, people still enjoy the general, I suppose, speed that you can get Valkyrie, and that's, I think, the biggest effort that people go for.
Yeah, on the other side, we're seeing the Mercy Moira coming out, which seems to be getting more common on Kings Row already. Going up onto the point is Forsaken, is iNFAMOUS, as they push right up Forsaken into this back pocket, and Reese's Feces bullying the back line. Both supports going down on the side of Forsaken, so iNFAMOUS just cleaning house right now very, very swiftly, already on the first tick. And they made no hesitation whatsoever getting these two supports, and that, for their troubles, gets them a full team fight.
Yeah, it was really surprising. It felt like maybe Landgull on the Junkrat would have been able to stop that Doomfist, but he came out so surprisingly, hitting the backline, taking out, I believe, one of the supports immediately. It was just a little too surprising. The attack was very concise, and it worked out for them. A very quick round one.
Yeah, very solid burst damage, and now that they've gotten what they wanted out of the Doomfist, Reese's Feces has moved over from the Doomfist to the Junkrat, and already getting closer to a Riptire. Here comes an Earth Shatter, comes down from Rampikes, but not going to land home, not getting anyone down, and Zeke getting on the board, putting down Rampikes. Now a charge from Ziltoid. He does clean up Spooty. That's just buying a lot more room for the rest of iNFAMOUS to walk right up and get this payload in unabated through the second phase of this map.
Yeah, putting the pain train straight through. They just put a huge amount of concise damage on the enemy Reinhardt there for Forsaken, and they were not able to hold effectively. Moira just shot her out straight through, and all the initial damage done to Reinhardt just was enough to literally take him out. It looks like they're going to get all the way to the end point. Already a stagger on Spooty, on Zarya. They're going to use the res there. Hopefully with the Valkyrie coming up for them, it's going to be a good hit for them in the next match, but the point is
Rampikes almost got booped off the map. Has to be careful. This Riptire, though, getting caught out by Zafkiel. And that should stop things. And then with the added chain healing and damage boost from this Mercy, going to help the defense push right back out on the offense, who have overextended just a little bit, and now they're locked in place with this Groudon coming out from Spooty. He cleans up Reese's. Reese's can't get Zilfoid, though, as he charges right in. An Earth Shadow, though, putting Rampikes on his back as well as JK. And Zeke is able to get 2 kills off of that. Now Transcendence being popped by Zafkiel to try and keep the remainder of his team alive and just establish their point on the payload. But now Coalescence and a grab combo coming out back from iNFAMOUS. And Earth Shadow to try and salvage things. But unfortunately, Rampikes is not alive any longer to capitalize. A barrage just for good measure. And iNFAMOUS are able to walk this right to the second checkpoint here on Kings Row.
The damage mitigation on iNFAMOUS is beautiful. Like, even with the amount of damage coming their way, they're able to survive and just keep their team members up consistently, just constantly rotating in and out, using the Zarya shields effectively as they can, and it's working for them very well.
Unfortunately for the side of Forsaken, they're trying to go for this burst damage and the hit scan, but they can't peek as hard as they want to with this Junkrat throwing a ton of damage and volleying all this hurt down the lane. And that's making it hard for not only for them to get shots, but for Honeybee to build ultimate, not being able to build Valkyrie as quick as Aiku has been popping it left and right and getting them. And it's such a huge support and backbone of this offense. It just doesn't seem to stop, as Redpikes does get a kill on Reese's, but is it going to be enough? Zafkiel in the back corner trying to keep the 76, Zarya alive. Spoody goes down, and Earthshatter putting Honeybee and JK and Zafkiel on their backs, with Honeybee somehow getting away alive. Unfortunately not on the payload, and iNFAMOUS is able to walk it in with a bunch of time on the clock.
Yeah, apologies to the stream if there's a little bit of lag coming in, but either way, the staggers on iNFAMOUS side were so beautiful. They were able to get Mercy out initially, no reses, no healing coming in, almost halved, and the moment she came back in, that Earthshatter came in very clutch, knocking her out, not allowing her to get back in, res anybody, stop the point. It went out beautifully for them, and it was a very quick 3 rounds, I gotta say.
Yeah, there really just wasn't any situation in which Forsaken was able to get their footing, and they had a hard time maintaining stoppage of the payload. I mean, the second phase of the map pretty much didn't happen. iNFAMOUS just walked the payload right through to the second checkpoint, and a lot of that is that they were having their tanks were having trouble creating room. Rampikes and Spoody really just were almost too clumped up with the rest of the team. They couldn't give their DPS enough space, their 76 and McCree enough space to peek and get those burst shots if need be, or at least sustain damage thrown down against this Junkrat of Reese's, who is just putting on so much work and is able to do so because he has some good supports in the back line. Iku's building up a lot of Valkyrie, so that's a good little support there too, and their tanks are playing very well. So it's a definitely a dichotomy here between these two teams. Not only the space created, but the ultimates that they're building at what rate. So now we break out the second attempt here on King's Row. It's now Forsaken's opportunity to try and push up here, but will iNFAMOUS get the legendary point A hold? Could be a possibility here. They are going for, interestingly, a 1-tank composition here. So they have the Orisa, but that's the only tank they're running. They're going for a triple DPS lineup with the Orisa, 76, Junkrat, and Party on the Pharah. Party's been like quietly staying on the board, just residually putting in damage and putting in work as a utility player here. And now on this Pharah, and continue to be doing so, going to be raining Justice from above. And then Yatara and Iku still on the Moira Mercy respectively combo here, which is working out very well in the tight corridors of King's Row.
Yeah, very squishy on the defense, but either way, if they decide to go for a hard attack, they're able to, they're going to be able to move out of the way, but either way, Zeke taken out very fast by Langle.
Yeah, Langle getting that Widowmaker kill. That's gonna give the Q the rest of it Forsaken to walk in, but they still have to be careful. They're still separated quite a little bit here. Now finally they clump up. They don't want to lose anybody as they get some momentum going into this. Langle though, no more picks coming out from him. That could get a res popped, but I believe the rest of this team is just gonna clean things up. But Party is still alive. There's no Widowmaker there to take him down, and so Party's gonna keep putting damage until Spoody cleans him up. We have just a lone Mercy on the point remaining. It's Iku, and they do go down. So Forsaken giving iNFAMOUS a little bit of a taste of their own medicine here, as they also swiftly cap the point. Not as quickly, but they're definitely doing pretty well as we move into the second phase of King's Row.
Yeah, Langle on his own, just on one Widowmaker, was a very good distraction for the team. Immediately, you could see that iNFAMOUS wanted to go straight for him, and it was a very good distraction considering that most of the damage came from the rest of the team. They were able to take out everybody else, and that ended up giving them an advantage at the initial round 1.
So, like, as we saw in the last leg of this map, how far iNFAMOUS pushed up to get themselves this, but now Forsaken kind of inching their way up here, and they've actually run into a bunch of ultimates as well as Party doing damage and getting rid of Langle again. This Coalescence is just such a hard stream to fight against. The current is absolutely way too strong here. They have to push back. It is Forsaken now finds themselves clumping and right against this wall, trying to stay alive, holding on for dear life here. Payload has come to a halt, so now it is up to iNFAMOUS to try and push that advantage. They are not moving. Their feet are planted. They're going to back up just a little bit here towards this corner to try and give themselves a little bit of cover. They should be able to hold a little bit here and try and build up some more ultimates, but they are at an ultimate tie. So their team having an advantage. Party does pick up the Rip Tower kill on Zeke, and now gets a double kill on the barrage just as grabs go down, and Party was not getting caught in that, but JK picks up 2 with the help of a mine, and then just a regular left click kill. An Earthshatter going down. That's not going to really confirm on any too many kills here, but the kill feed is entirely right for iNFAMOUS, and they just let Forsaken walk in a little bit, and then the ultimates get popped. Party cleaning things up with a nice barrage kill, and things just snowball from there.
Yeah, even with the Graviton going against iNFAMOUS, the fact that Party was in the backline, got 2 people initially with the Fair ultimate, it just wasn't enough. It surprised the team, I suppose. Didn't allow them to concisely do damage on the Graviton, and they were just able to do very well pushing forward from there, using their ults at a pretty good rate.
And this dive composition that they've almost entirely switched over to for Forsaken, Langle on the Genji now. Other than JK who's still in the Junkrat, they're having trouble finding kills, and JK going down before the fight really even gets going, and then Party finding Honeybee. So not only are they losing big DPS players that are going to do a lot of the damage for these fights, but they're losing the Mercy to get them back into it. So those are 2 key players that are going down consistently early. And Forsaken might have to shape up if they want to get these team fights changing a little bit compositionally.
Yeah, and Forsaken has to be a little bit careful. Considering their tank amount of damage, the biggest amount of shield they have is from Winston. After that, D.Va, a majority of Forsaken's damage is going straight through that defense matrix. So it's a little bit difficult, especially with having such squishy characters.
Oh, Zeke. Yeah, puts down Langle, but there Honeybee picking him right back up. And Honeybee does have the Valkyrie that could help them as they push into this. And you hear the Reptile coming out, and even a Coalescence. And then JK, though, finding Yatara and Reese is in the back line. That's going to be absolutely a way and a guidance for Forsaken to walk right in here as Rampike picks up Zeke. And Langle getting rid of Party, and this is just no backbone for the rest of this team remaining. So Reese gets separated from Ziltoid. Ziltoid has to do a desperation charge and gets killed as a result. And this payload should be able to continue to walk forward as no one left from iNFAMOUS is on top of it. But still, Forsaken having trouble getting to this second checkpoint. iNFAMOUS is eating up a lot of time on their side of the clock.
A strange time to do a Reinhardt ult right when the Junkrat ult went straight to the backline, taking out 2 of them. It just tore away the aggressiveness.
Party's still doing a bunch of damage upstairs, but the entirety of Forsaken just willing to ignore him at first and then finally take him out without Party getting pocketed immediately by Iku at all times. He's doing less damage, so they do have a little more time to spare with dealing with him. And realizing that Forsaken is able to walk this into the second checkpoint. Now the third phase of King's Row, and they're positioning themselves on the high ground just a little bit with JK and Rampikes and Honeybee. A little triple threat upstairs, but they're found out by Party, who dislodges them from that high ground advantage. Now Ziltoid pushing up, a Graviton being thrown out, but it doesn't look like it's going to connect on anybody there. And unfortunately, because of that, no one relevant around to get the kill. That's essentially a waste ultimate, but the kill feed is going blue here. Oh, almost knocked off the map is Ziltoid, just barely clinging to life against this Primal Raging Monkey. Finally, though, Rampike simmers down, and he's going to help clean up these kills with help of JK's Riptire. Another Coalescence coming out from Yatara with Party raining down more rockets from above, getting healed, and now trying to go for more. But a Transcendence coming out here to keep the rest of the team alive from Zachfiel. And now Rampikes and Spooty combining for some nice tank kills. Reese is jumping on, but he's already sniffed out. Party throwing down a barrage, but the defense matrix is ready. Unfortunately, they can't keep the garbage mouse alive, but he does at least help get some damage before he goes down, and the rest of the team's picking up the slack. Spooty and Honeybee, though, a double Earth Shatter coming out there. Unfortunately, Ziltoid gets routed almost immediately after. Now it's Zeke on the Roadhog after Yatara also gets cleaned up. He's discorded. He whiffs the hook. That should be enough. And this payload's still barely outside the golden parking space there. Reese is trying to harass, trying to eat up a little more time here. There will still be a significant time advantage on the side of iNFAMOUS, but Forsaken just trying to play against it as much as they possibly can. Finally, the payload comes in. We're going to be going to a round 3 between these 2 teams. Forsaken, despite being down several minutes here, still, I mean, this is anyone's game. They could still, they're not an opportunity to absolutely close the gap here against Unforgiven.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, even though like you said, they have a significant time disadvantage, that switch from, I suppose, a much more 2D composition to a dive composition saved them. I saw it a little bit strange considering the damage they were going against, but they were able to prioritize targets a lot better with that composition. Maybe they're more used to it, or maybe they're able to execute their plans and attacks much more, I suppose, effectively. And just going into that every single time, especially on Spooty, he was able to deny an entire Graviton coming into that last fight, and Forsaken had somewhere around 4 ultimates, and they weren't able to stop almost what was practically a snowball in that round 3.
Yeah, and now as we move into the third phase here, I'm curious to see how this pops out, because both teams didn't have too much of a problem getting point A. They did it swiftly. We did see it a little bit quicker from the side of iNFAMOUS, sure, but Forsaken was right behind him in terms of time taken to get point A. So this could be another quick set of point A captures here. The difference, though, of course, almost 3 minutes between these two teams. So Forsaken, which a much smaller margin of error here between these two teams, and they're going to be on offense first. They do have the smaller time abundance here, 1 minute and 30 seconds now on the clock as they push out. They are going with a triple tank lineup, supplemented by Hanzo, Mercy, Zenyatta, so they have some long-range DPS and attack. Otherwise, they got some tanks to try and create some room for them, and that's definitely going to be what they need, because Hanzo wants to try and build up to a dragon as quickly as possible and combo that with the Zarya. JK getting the first blood onto this junk grab that's immediately rezzed by Ikyu, and now the defense motioning back towards the point as it starts to take away. Spoody puts down Party, who switched over to the Zarya after using Pharah last round, and now Rampikes, with the help of Spoody, have rotated around the other side of the hotel. They're now pinching the defense of Unforgiven in the hotel. Now JK gets a nice kill on the Guitar. That's big. Even Reese's is discorded, and he gets fire struck down by Rampikes. Big picks here coming out from the side of Forsaken, and now Zeke, last left alive alongside this Ikyu. Both of them are discorded. Spoody cleaning them both up, and another swift point A capture coming out from Forsaken.
Yeah, the moves coming from iNFAMOUS were very staggering. They were trying to do their best to be able to wait for the teammates that got taken down immediately. But right now, JK, on Roadhog is just making those pulls look so beautiful. He's pulling them back straight into the team, allowing them to do the amount of damage they can. And Landgoal is just being in that background, dishing out like ridiculous amount of damage. And right now, the team is just completely staggered between the point. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to concisely defend at the halfway point.
Yeah, Spoody and JK continuing the throttling of this defense of Unforgiven, as they, like you said, they've been staggered, but only one person on the payload. So the payload really hasn't gotten too far. The defense should be able to muster up some kind of hold, at least on the checkpoint itself. And it looks like, indeed, they're just waiting for their numbers to get jacked back up to 6. They are sitting on 4 ultimates, but of course, Forsaken on 5. They don't have the Dragon Search combo. They're just going to go for the Raw Dragon, find the defense right outside on that checkpoint. That forces out the Transcendence there from Yatara. Let's see what they follow up with here. A big hook on the Langle, a Transcendence from Zakio, now a Riptire coming out from Reese's, trying to find that back line, but of course they're Transcendence and by the Zenyatta, so he's having a hard time looking for a target. He actually avoids Langle for some reason, and then gets killed and cleaned up by JK. So this payload's still inching forward. There's no one touching on the payload. Ziltoy picks up a kill and then a res from Party. He's transing upstairs. He's using his Valkyrie upstairs, and that's going to help the rest of the team sustain onto this point as Party back on the Pharah, raining some shots from above that. Rampikes and JK having a little bit of trouble dealing with here. Langle does go down. Rampikes gets hooked. Zeke, a lot of support here on this defense. Now things are starting to roll back towards the side of Unforgiven, cleaning up Unforsaken, cleaning up Unforgiven, clean up Forsaken. Both of these teams duking it out here, but it's not going to be an entire completion here for Forsaken, as iNFAMOUS holding entirely on defense. And now they have an opportunity. All they got to do is get halfway through this map to take the first point.
Yeah, the split-second decisions that came out there at the end were just completely beautiful. Almost every single ult coming out there, Dragon, and to face Dragon, Transcendence, to face Junkrat ult, Reinhardt slaps. It was pretty crazy going up there onto the end. Either way, I mean, I gotta say the Roadhogs did a lot of work. Both Zeke and I believe JK over on their Roadhogs were just pulling in the targets, allowing them to have that just split-second response for their teams to dish out as much damage as they can. For the most part, that meant picks for each team, and in the end it just came up for Zeke being able to pull I believe a little bit more than JK could there up at the end.
Yeah, this is a really small opportunity here for Forsaken to hold on. And I mean, who do you think is going to be really like who the offense needs here, or for the defense, I'm sorry, for them to really hold on to this?
It's difficult to say. I mean, iNFAMOUS went so fast at the beginning, so it's hard to say if it was maybe a warm-up match for Forsaken. Maybe they finally understand what happened, what went.
Yeah, like kind of like what went wrong, something like that. It's hard to really kind of figure out, especially like I said earlier, in a best of 3, I have so little time to adapt here. Already getting the party started. It is Party upstairs throwing down those rockets. Meanwhile, we have the 76 from Reese's up on this high ground, just helping the entirety of this offensive push from Infamous move right up and force Forsaken again back into this back pocket, and they're just scrambling for kills here. No one able to get a first pick. It's consistent damage. So finally, Rampage is getting first blood on the other Reinhardt, but he goes in to pick that right back up. No one able to keep him down too, and then Zeke getting right back in onto Spooty. And that's going to help the rest of this team just snowball this fight. Zafkiel does pick up a kill, but he's separated from this Roadhog, and unfortunately can't help supplement him too much. No Mercy left on the board or in play as well. And almost as fast as we saw from the side of Forsaken just beforehand, Infamous again picking up a very, very rapid point A. And they're going to be getting to the second phase very soon, but they don't have a lot of opportunity to chew away at the real estate on the second phase here. We already see Forsaken is situated and defensively holding at the end of this, right in front of the checkpoint, actually.
Yeah, hard loss there. Spooty was max energy there, so he was dishing out maximum damage, but went a little bit too far. Taken out immediately, and the amount of damage that Forsaken was able to do was just significantly reduced after he was taken down. Either way, both teams pushing a very hard shield war here at the halfway point.
Oh, and a barrier does go down, and an Earthshatter, though, smart by Ziltoy to hide inside the store, but as Zarya goes down, then Spooty also going down. Earthshatter is not too fat, but they do land on someone. A Graviton from Zafkiel, but he's going to counter that with a Transcendence. No kills. A bunch of ultimates being popped, but no one's getting any kills here. Finally, though, this Graviton's going to scoop up Infamous, and Forsaken will capitalize on that with a bunch of kills. Now Infamous getting thrown back to their spawn. They have to retreat with their tails between their legs. And now that they've grouped back up, they're actually going to just immediately turn on their heels right on the dime and get back up onto the payload. Sorry, that's going to be the defense doing that. But yeah, running with their tails between their legs. The side of Infamous as they regroup back to the drawing board here. Reese Feast is still on this on the Junkrat. Iku sitting on a Valkyrie, and Party does have a barrage, so there's no Diva waiting on the other side. They could just, if Zeke they wait for Graviton from Zeke, they just combo right for that, but they may not even need to right now as they're going ham, going very aggro, trying to take out this Diva of JK, who, yeah, that'll be a problem that he will have the Transcendence for this barrage once it does come out. Langold does go down, though. They've de-mech'd the Diva. Here's the win condition. Party can now throw down a barrage. An Earthshatter coming out there. Definitely not going to need it, though, as Ziltoid helps the rest of the team clean up. I know the defense is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and I mean, they're still going to go for the defense there instead of pushing the point fast enough. I'm not sure if they'll be able to catch up, but Party is still holding on to that fair barrage, and I imagine it's going to be a pretty harsh defense. And almost up until the last second, 2 people down. It doesn't look like there's any form, and that's it.
Yeah, Party was too far ahead, and then with the help of that Coalescence, there's pretty much nothing that Forsaken could do. So now they have to just look ahead to the next map. We're going to Watch Point Gibraltar. And Infamous will be up 1-0 as we move in. Here comes Party, which I'm sure will be hitting a nice 2 or 3 man barrage. Looks like this is like the last barrage he hits after getting a nice helpful assist from Reese's. Picking up Honeybee. Should be able to clean up that Zenyatta. Doesn't even need... actually, despite all the barrages he landed, the play of the game has nothing to do with one. Just consistent damage, and unfortunately on the side of Forsaken, they were unable to take him out quick enough. He was just able to linger above for just a little bit too long and able to deal just the right amount of damage there. And you can see what a big difference that makes, especially on King's Row, where the amount of room that his victims have is small. They really, sure they can duck into cover quickly, but he can keep chase. There's really aren't too long ways for them to get out. Not too many escape routes like that. So, yeah, Infamous looking pretty solid off that King's Row, and now we're going to a pure escort map here. It's up for Forsaken to send this to a game 3.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm seeing it, to be honest. Coming into one of those matches, we saw literally an Earthshatter and an Earthshatter. Both Earthshatters got each enemy Zarya, I believe, then a double Graviton, but the only thing that came up there was the fact that Forsaken was able to keep their tanks in the front line, keeping the damage consistently on the DPS. So after the Gravitons came out, the only damage that came out for either Graviton came up on Forsaken's. So it's hard to say. It's just clear that whenever the team goes for an initial plan, it depends on who executes it better, or rather if the team is there to execute it. So it's very close for both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. We are seeing Infamous change it up just a little bit, but I would think that things are still going to be pretty close between these teams. Forsaken still going to be able to do some work. I mean, we've seen Spooty, like you said, he was a Zarya was able to hold on to a charge, a good, crucial parts of the map, but unfortunately then losing it, they weren't able to, ups and downs with that Zarya charge there. We saw Rampake's shades of some solid shatters here and there. Zafkiel and JK with some good kills on Zenyatta and Roadhog, respectively. Even Lango was doing work on Widowmaker at the beginning of King's Row, so they're definitely not out of it. Forsaken has the tools. They just got to get the blueprint together and follow some instructions. I think they should be able to bring this to a map 3 and bring it to Lijiang Tower.
Okay. Right now the players are, I believe, trying to figure out how their subs work, but it looks like they are ready. Give me a second.
Yeah, it looks like we're ready to go. So we will be jumping in to Watchpoint Gibraltar for our second map here. This is UGC League's Overwatch, UGC Overwatch. It's NA Gold season 6, week 1. Thank you all for tuning in to our first bout of 2018. I am the Rapture, joined as always by JJSkywalker. So we're going into our second map here between these two teams. Infamous still in the red, Forsaken still in the blue.
Again, I want to apologize to anybody who might be experiencing any form of stream lag. Happens to me every so often. Either way, doing my best.
It's Overwatch League trying to sabotage a broadcast, you know.
Yeah.
They see a community, they're like, nope, gotta clean it up now. Actually, no, Overwatch League it's been really exciting. I've been enjoying. I enjoyed the matches from last night. I enjoyed the preseason, and the matches happening today have been, so far it seems, pretty high quality. So, or at least high entertainment. So take it as you will. But for anyone who hasn't been tuning in, I definitely recommend it. And tonight, I believe we should be done more than ahead with this broadcast before it actually happens. New York versus Boston, which I'm excited for since I'm from New York, and you know, nothing makes me happier than seeing a New York team take out a team from Boston. So I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully a 4-0 for that set. JJ, I don't know if you're rooting for any particular team in the league. Do you have anyone kind of setting your sights on?
No, not really, to be honest. It's just kind of like looking at the players, and I think one of the best things that's coming out of OWL is just consistently being able to see what these pro teams are able to pull out, kind of coinciding with your own semi-pro teams, and being able to maybe see their strategies. And I think overall, all the players are just going to be getting better and better by being able to watch each other.
Yeah, definitely. And even from Open Division 2, which is still getting a lot of teams, and a lot of teams have been practicing a lot for it. We've seen a lot of solid, like, tier 2, tier 3 teams getting a lot of good play in, and we're getting some good matches out of it, especially here in UGC. So, like I said, on Gibraltar, Infamous pushing out first in the red on offense here. They're running entirely dive. Makes sense, of course. It's Gibraltar. So much verticality. You want to have highly mobile characters. And on defense, I mean, the slightly modification, because, of course, they're running the 76 is JK to take advantage of the high ground, the long-range high ground shots. Land goal, though, a nice slice right through that gorilla. He's going to put some of those gorilla chops on the dinner table with that one, and they're going to keep that payload now shut down for the time being. As D.Va, unfortunately, unable to escape. It's Spooty, unable to get out with their likely very expensive mech, and have to fall back to the payload as Reese's takes out that piece of equipment. Party, though, with a nice catch on the land goal, and then Spooty as they try to retreat. That's definitely a cue for Infamous to walk right in here, and now they don't have not only one of their main damage dealers, but also someone who can create some space. That means their tanks should be able to jump right in onto Forsaken, and indeed they do. Zafkiel goes down, and now they're chasing down for the Mercy, but they're going to be distracted just a little bit here by the tanks as they do respawn and force the rest of the team back. But Party, a big stagger onto land goal. That should stifle this defense. It does pop the Valkyrie to get these reses out. Gets the double res into Lango and the JK, but the fight has transitioned back up onto the payload. Eco getting a res onto Party. And they're trying to get rid of Lango again, as well as this monkey, but he primal rages on the side there of Rampike, who's going to try and just dislodge everyone from the payload, and is having pretty solid success here with the help of Spooty and Lango, respectively. Lango does pick up 2, and the defense is going to be able to hold just in front of the first checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, just the amount of stuff that Party was able to do there up in the beginning, just able to get the unbelievable flags and pretty hard artillery going to the background, but finally being put down. The team was able to coincide together after that quick stagger, and the tanks are just distracting very well going on Forsaken.
Yeah, Forsaken is... You know, it took them a little while, a little tiny bit of a moment there to hold on, but they were able to do it. Party, though, just slipping right in front of the D.Va, no less, and gets rid of Honeybee. So that's going to get the barrier right out. And, of course, Zakiel's waiting with the Transcendence. And the Blade, though, the Transcendence might have been too early there, as the Blade was waiting right afterward, and Reese is able to go in unabated, picks up Lango, but nothing else, and that's because a majority of Forsaken has already been killed. Honeybee went down early in that fight, so there are no reses waiting, and Party takes him out again as he tries to rejoin it. Finally, the first checkpoint is going to be secured here by iNFAMOUS. Now they're going to try and get some more room here. Looking for these squishies, they see Lango lingering about on this ship, but they're going to back up as Spooty is now walking into the fray with the D.Va.
Yeah, coming into this fight, it looks like right now the Genjis and anybody who's able to have a 3D advantage here is going to be having a good amount of time, as Lango just slashing straight through three people with his Genji blade and being able to get his shift resets pretty well, as they're able to stop the point right at the beginning of this stage 2.
Yeah, that's sometimes you just got to burn the ultimate to be sure to get those kills, but also it's just a good opportunity to stop the momentum, reset to neutral, give yourself a little bit of time to situate yourselves, and they are indeed positioning up on the high ground with a couple of ults in the bank. They don't have a pulse bomb though, but JK is very close to it, so they should expect it as the fight breaks out. That'd be a great opportunity to take out either IQ or Yatara, especially as IQ builds towards this Valkyrie. If they can get a pulse bomb onto the Mercy, that'd be great. His ultoid may not be too much value. His ultoid is sitting onto the Primal Rage, and Party's going to be out of reach most likely. Is sitting on the Barrage, and now a Transcendence being popped there on the side of Honeybee, trying to keep the rest of his team alive as Spooty positions himself up onto the ship, but he's letting the rest of his team die just a little bit, though. Spooty helped pick up a slap, and then Rampikes getting up onto IQ. Honeybee forced to res his other support as they lose the Zenyatta. This payload has still gone nowhere. His iNFAMOUS having trouble getting through these small doors here that unfortunately the payload has come to a rest on the other side of. That's just such a horrible position to get re-engaged onto this payload push here, and iNFAMOUS have a lot of work to do to get things going.
Yeah, you would think otherwise, but Forsaken was very smart in considering pushing as much as they did to get this initial spot at the beginning. Because their composition isn't as sky-based, especially them going so hard on Party, they need to have this little bottleneck right here to give them the advantage right on the beginning of their attacks. And it's working out for them.
Yeah, definitely. Finally, though, iNFAMOUS able to get upstairs onto this left high ground, but Lango, before things even get started, taking out Yatara, so there's no sound barrier waiting for either this D.Va bomb or the added pressure of Zeke. Or, I'm sorry, added pressure of JK. Zeke, though, gets a kill onto Rampike, so that's immediately res. Transcendence coming out from Zafkiel as a D.Va bomb gets popped by Spooty, from Spooty onto Ziltoid. This payload's still not moving anywhere. These ultimates are very well timed on the side of Forsaken, who's looking a lot. Well, I mean, we called it out earlier that these teams seem pretty even on King's Row, despite Forsaken's inability to complete it, but now they're showing that even more as they're stopping in their tracks for even longer. Unforsaken here, or iNFAMOUS there. But his teammates just very close to all those words. But yeah, they're at a minute left remaining on the clock, and now dumping up onto the top of the ship. Party to take out JK. Here comes the blade being popped, chasing down his Reese's, gets the kill into Honeybee, as I believed he had also popped his Valkyrie, but either way, not in the fray any longer. Spooty takes out Party, but is it too little too late? Reese's is just unrelenting, and it's a pulse bomb coming out. Not able to secure the kill, but Zeke does eventually get it anyway with some left clicks. And this payload should be able to continue forward now as Rampikes will go down. All that's left is JK, who's going to retreat and not get staggered here. So, but still 30 seconds and less remaining on the clock here for iNFAMOUS as they push up for this payload to this last few meters. The defense hasn't gotten there just yet, and they don't have any ultimates except the pulse bomb. But is the pulse bomb going to be enough to hold this offense in place? Oh, Party, though, getting one on the mech, and then Spooty. He does get Iku, though. JK, a nice pick on Iku. That's big. No res is coming out from the rest of this fight. Now Zafkiel is able to pick up Zeke. JK trading and gets the kill on the other counterpart, Genji, and now a blade for good measure from Landgol. Party trying to salvage this, but the barrage is not going to be enough, and indeed he goes down as well. And now Forsaken, looking like iNFAMOUS from last game. They've stopped iNFAMOUS from completing this map, and now they have an opportunity to possibly take Gibraltar.
Yeah, right on the stage 2, and again, it was, I didn't expect it out of them. It's something I've never seen before, but they just put so much, especially on the Genji blade, to get that initial for stage 2, and it worked out very well for them, not allowing anybody, I suppose not allowing them to get intel on where the priority targets are, where are they going to attack from. It's a very advantageous position to take. It was until they had to back out initially, I believe they lost their tracer there at the beginning, where they backed out a little bit, and Infamous was able to get an initial sight on where their positions were, where the Genji just went straight for a Genji Blade, took out the backline, and they were able to push just a little bit more. But with only 30 seconds left on the clock, I think Forsaken got exactly what they wanted to out of that defense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They just bode their time. They had such a great hold, and they were absolutely very happy to have that payload just resting on the other side of those closed doors. It's just so hard to push through for the offense. And that's like, it's interesting because when you think of Gibraltar, it can be a snowballing map to the offense. They can push up very far in the second phase, take advantage of the ship, and just completely dominate the high ground and make it very hard to the defense to get some footing. But at the same time, they kind of snowball against you because if that payload comes to a stop where it is, as we saw, the defense can hold for minutes and minutes at a time and really chew down on the offense. That just like you said, once Infamous finally got the ball rolling, they only had 30 seconds left on the clock, and they had to play picture perfect, and unfortunately they couldn't keep the frame on the wall. So now it's up to Forsaken. They have only half a map to push this to Lijiang Tower. That's all they have to do. They have 4 minutes on the clock for this first phase, and they're breaking out with the Hanzo from Langle, JK on the Pharah. Interesting. So they're gonna now no Genji, no Tracer.
We'll see. I mean, their defense was good on King's Row. We'll see if it's exactly the same here, and if it is, they might be able to win the map, or we'll be seeing a map 3.
That's the thing, though. It's not even close to being over here for Unforgiven or Infamous. They are just still very capable of holding entirely here on defense. So we can definitely see that. Zeke on the 76, Party still on the Pharah, and they're running the Mercy Zenyatta, which I think has been, I mean, it's definitely the most meta composition for support backline here. But Zafkiel and Honeybee, they're showing that they're willing to not only change between Lucio and Mercy, but also Mercy and Zenyatta. Still, though, Infamous looking a little better here on offense as they get a few couple picks here. They've already bought themselves a bunch of room. Spooty, though, trying to get things back as he goes towards the back line, trying to get and help out Zafkiel, but the chase is on with Party and Iku running right down onto them. And with all of a sudden this payload has come to a stop, it is Infamous with their Infamous defense.
Yeah. I suppose I was a little skeptical of this back hold, but considering they are running a Pharah, it's working out very well for them, considering that they may be afraid of a sniper being on the enemy team. It's good to be wary in that case.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, better be safe than sorry. Tara getting rid of Langle as Langle trying to dive right in up onto this crazy cluster of a fight happening on the high ground, but it is all going the way of Infamous. They've created a vacuum. They just suck in Forsaken and force them to just burn all their abilities, and there's no way for them to get out. And that's unfortunate because now Infamous, unfortunate for Forsaken, but it's very fortunate for here the side of Infamous, as they're now pushing Forsaken down to a 2-minute timeline right now, about 2 minutes on the clock. JK, though, getting Zeke, that should be the cue for them to walk right in here. Now that they don't have that long-range hit scan, keeping the pressure on as they go in, but Iku, he gets the Valkyrie and he has the res, and now the offense is pushed up. They have Zeke ready and waiting for them, and Lango gets a kill, or gets killed by him. Rampage still picking up Party, a Diva Bomb from Spooty, a very sneaky one from behind that chokehold, and he is able to pick up a kill, and now his visor from Zeke, who did get res from the grave. Reese's, though, a cleanup on JK. JK, I believe, popping a barrage, gets killed. A defense matrix should be waiting for Party, but Party gets a kill on the Rampikes. Nice pickup here, as Rampikes would definitely be a battery for this defense, for this offense for sure. And the defense of Infamous still holding strong here. Langle might get staggered. That could be big. Needs to get out with his life intact. His Stole clinging to his mortal body, and he is able to get down just in time.
Yeah, a minute left. Almost every single ultimate came up there, I believe. We've completely gone through the full rotation, and the amount that were used, both Pharah ultimates, both attacks. I believe there was 2 soldiers at the time. I'm not sure, and it was good for the defense either way. I mean, for the most part, I believe they used a lot less in that rotation.
Yeah, and now they're sitting on a solid ultimate advantage here. 3 ultimates to 1, and all Rampikes has is the Primal Rage. I mean, that's it. That's all that Forsaken has is Rampike's Primal Rage. So They're not even really close to any other ultimates, and they have very little time on the board. They need to make these next few seconds count and build up as much ultimate charge as possible. But Smooty putting down Iku, that could be a big help. Reese's did get Rafkill, though, and Rafkill was so close to a Transcendence. That's a big loss. The farther away he is from Transcendence, the worse it is for Forsaken. But Forsaken, it's picking up the slack here with the help of Langol and JK. Langol has switched over to the Widowmaker. A bomb from Spoody just for good measure. A reverse bomb from Reese's, but he can't connect on anybody. And he almost gets put down, though, but immediately demeched again. And this payload just in time. We should go into overtime, possibly. Actually, defense might not even be there for overtime. That would be big, though, if they get it in. It's be close. Oh, my. Just before 2 minutes and 26 seconds now on the clock for the rest of this push. I believe it just barely went into overtime, but either way, it was almost a negligible difference now. And the offense that I was talking about earlier, the snowballing effect of Gibraltar, now they're just pushing up, they're taking advantage of this high ground, and they're making it very hard for the defense to keep anyone peeking in the second phase of this. So they might actually get a complete push here.
Yeah, and iNFAMOUS used a little bit too much there on the defense, so I don't blame them for not being able to hold all the way up to this midway point. Something I do notice from both teams is the moment you get any of them any respite, they see the positions of the enemy teams and they go in for it immediately, just like they did right now. The moment that I suppose Forsaken backed up, iNFAMOUS saw a Widowmaker, pushed up 2 straight and jumped on her immediately, and it's something we're seeing coming out from both teams.
Yeah, speaking of that Widowmaker, though, Langol finding Ziltwade again, forcing the res out from Eco, and then getting rid of Party with a nice just assault rifle fire, making it look like Halo 2 over here. No need for the sniper rifle. Iku does get the res on the Reese's, and then Zeke returning fire gets a kill on the Honeybee. Without that res back in play, Honeybee was also very close to a Valkyrie, which would have been great to keep this offensive push going here. But if Zalfiel has the Transcendence that he had still been holding on to from the previous fight, is going to keep JK alive and help get rid of Zeus. Though Party, a little maybe too close there for that barrage. JK shows him how it's done, though. Only 1 barrage kill, but better than nothing, better than 0, better than a suicide kill there. That's for sure. Langol getting a nice right click, and JK is still alive. Seems like he's been alive forever on this point. And now iNFAMOUS, Forsaken getting very close, but still, could it be iNFAMOUS able to hold this? The defense is nowhere to be found, though. It's just a Junkrat, and Forsaken will be pushing this to a third and final map here. Even though iNFAMOUS looked like they were able to hold it on defense, they fell apart just at the end, and now Forsaken making it a very close set. We're going to a map 3. We're going to Lijiang. Here's Langol with the Podge.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Just if iNFAMOUS had maybe done a little bit more, pushed it to a stage 3, it looks like time-wise, it might have been just enough for them to win that map. But because Forsaken had such a good defense going for them as well, it was enough for them to push it all the way to a map 3.
Yeah, I'm happy to see a map 3 too, because these teams have been very even throughout this set, both able to not only like either complete the map, but also hold the other team to not completing the map, whether it was Kings Row or was Watchpoint Gibraltar. So that was a great job by both of these teams. So this is week 1. This is a great way to get, a nice head start into season 6 here for UGC Overwatch. Forsaken, again, this is a newer team. I'm not sure how long they've been playing together, but they've only made their UGC team roster just about a week ago. So they're new to this, and iNFAMOUS, meanwhile, been playing around in UGC since it seems around summertime to early fall, so like August, September. Some of these guys have been playing on this team since August, September, with a couple new additions. Reese's coming in December, and we even have a couple other members more around the September range. But yeah, this is a stark difference between these two teams in terms of how long they've been playing together, yet they almost seem completely evenly matched up here in this set. So we're just waiting for these teams to get started. It should be a best of 3 on Lijiang Tower, which has been standard now. We're moving away from the best of 5. That was standard for for Control for the entirety of Overwatch's history. It's only been a recent change. And this gives both teams potential opportunity to just play only on one stage of the map instead of potentially playing on 2 for 2 of the 3. We are going to start out on Night Market here on Lijiang, so this opportunity for these teams to possibly run Reinhardt or Zarya or Roadhog or Orisa, those kinds of characters. Whereas Winston and D.Va, of course, I mean, those characters are just so good that why not run them? But, you know, with these a lot more cover, more narrow corridors, these kind of blockier, more geometric sightlines, you know, fits up perfectly for Reinhardt's shield. And then, of course, going to give Zarya an opportunity to build charge, going to give Orisa an opportunity to build bongo. Roadhog can sit behind those barriers and throw down hooks. Might see that from either of these teams. However, seems like both teams more comfortable on the dive, going to stick to D.Va and Winston, going to stick to the Pharah still from Langle and Party. But we are seeing Zeke and Ziltoid going on the Roadhog and Reinhardt respectively. By the way, the team colors have shifted over, so we now have Infamous in the blue and Forsaken in the red. So yeah, so slightly modified compositions coming out from these teams. Rampikes even see on this McCree. We might see a switch in terms of tank players, and indeed Spoody is now on the Roadhog. Rampikes back over to the Winston. Spoody now on the D.Va, so I guess they are going to commit to the dive. They're going to be facing up against a Junkrat, a Roadhog, and a Reinhardt. Could be a lot of burst damage coming out. Yatara on the Moira. They're going to be clumping up a lot more compared to Forsaken and the red. Let's see how it works out for them.
We'll see, especially with both teams. I feel like anybody who gives any other team a chance is going to have the advantage here.
Yeah, it could be. The fight is already broken out, and Ziltoid finds Rampikes with his back turned and gets the first blood, gets that nice pin. But the rest of this team is kind of getting bodied a little bit here. He's not keeping the rest of the team safe and sound behind that shield after that charge. Thankfully, though, a couple other characters are going down. But yeah, that's Ziltoid. Unfortunately, the rest of his team getting kind of bodied and going down for the count. And now everything is going red on this kill feed. That's going to be a first completion here on the side of Forsaken.
Yeah, and again, they literally got the first attack, allowing them to do that initial dive. And mind you, they are actually running a dive. So against a Junkrat, that is a little surprising. But I suppose with that initial separation that they had, they were a little staggered to be fighting that early.
Yeah, they kind of lost control of their tanks. But Party gets right back into control, getting rid of the Far Mercy combo. That was nice, actually. That was really good. That's a cue for them to go in, absolutely. Here comes a Coalescence from Yatara to help usher this team in here. And Party is waiting on a barrage as well. He might want to just hold on to that. No, not necessary to need it. It's only really JK still on the point here. He is getting caught out by this Moira and then cleaned up by Party. Rampike's getting onto it, and Langle still on the point. So they actually might be able to get some presence onto this. Langle picks up Party and then boops off Zeke from inside the point. Yatara, though, returning fire, gets a kill into Langle. Now it's up to Spoody. Can he do some work here with this D.Va mech? He doesn't have a bomb, though, unfortunately, so he gets routed immediately. And that's going to be, should be a shift here for Unforsaken. Unfortunately for them, though, or for Infamous, unfortunately for them, though, it takes a little while longer. And now finally Infamous are able to capture on the blue side.
Yeah, luckily they're able to stop them at the 60% point. That allows them to maybe have an extra margin of error, I suppose. One more fight after that. Anything beyond that, and it would have been a little bit of trouble going into any form of loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Now within 40% between these two teams. Party, Yatara, Reese's, Ziltoid, all sitting on ultimates, and Yatara is about to pick up the Coalescence. They booped themselves in, but unfortunately the entirety of Infamous were separated as this fight broke out, so Forsaken took advantage of this. Iku forced to burn the Valkyrie to get the double res. And Ziltoid again separated from the rest of his team and should be routed out by Rampikes, and indeed he is with the help of that Discord Orb. And now the entirety of Forsaken capitalizing on that and just collapsing all around on Infamous, having a very hard time staying alive. Reese's, though, a nice Riptire kill onto Honeybee, a bomb from above, and Zeke does pick it up on Zeke does get picked up by Spoody at that kill. Your target's Zap kill. It's probably too little too late at this point. He doesn't get missiled down here from Spoody. Indeed he does. Party, though, keeping things alive here, keeping the party going past midnight with the help of Ziltoid, too. They're still alive, but Ziltoid does go down on Spoody. Party trying to get himself back with a little bit of altitude. Finally gets pocketed just in the nick of time, but he's not on the point, and it will swing back over to the side of Forsaken. Infamous did steal away the lead here, but this fight is still going on somehow as Party will not go down, and Zeke has bought enough time, or he's been bought enough time to get the whole hog down, and they might actually be able to swing this back over to their favor as no one from Forsaken is remaining on the point except JK. Now Landgold, though, oh my god, this fight when it seems like it's over, a bunch of kills coming out from the other team, and then Zeke getting back on the board. Iku resing Ziltoid back in. JK still alive. No one has been able to put down the remainder of Infamous here. As JK, though, getting onto Iku, could that be enough as Rampike is back on the point with the help of JK and his Mercy Honeybee. No kills, though, until finally Zeke routes Honeybee, and now a Coalescence coming out from the Moira Yatara. And finally, a percentage hold and capture here on the side of Infamous.
Yeah, either way, Forsaken all the way up to 98%. That all started off with a very interesting attack where Infamous went for an initial distractionary attack with Party heading through the back, Rampikes heading through the front. And it surprised them at the beginning. Right now, Forsaken, all they've got is Valkyrie. Maybe it's all they need, but it's a little bit harsh against what Infamous has.
Yeah, absolutely. And Infamous now clawing on to the rest of this hold here as they're losing numbers and fast. A Diva Bomb getting thrown down there, but it's not going to connect, unfortunately, for Spooty. He does get a kill on Moira just as he jumps back into the rig, but it's immediately res. Now Party getting some revenge, killing out JK. And then Spooty waiting with the defense matrix onto Zeke, allowing Rampikes to clean him up. But Party just won't go down, and no one's killing him. No one is killing Party. He's staying alive for the longest amount of time here, and that helps Infamous complete and capture and hold on to this point, now pushing themselves to a 1-0 lead on Lijiang. Now they are at not only map and game point, but set point here. They only need one more round of Lijiang to take this set 2-1. Oh, this could be trouble here. Yeah, this could definitely be trouble here, JJ, as we're going to the garden phase of Lijiang. You know what that means? More fair. And if anything, I know from watching this set so far is that Party is going to be a hard cookie to crumble here on this Pharah. I really think there should be a little more investment on anti-Party tech here on the side of Forsaken, as they haven't found an answer for him. He's going to be doing so much damage and getting environmental kills here. He's going to be a threat. And both these teams now running almost mirror compositions. It's just a difference of JK on the Tracer and Pharah for Landgull. Whereas the triple DPS coming out from Party, Zeke, and Reese's, they're running the Pharah, Tracer, Genji. And they're already finding success with a boop from Party and Ziltoid getting a kill onto Rampikes. And there's just no one able to get over this bridge except Spooty, who does take out Party, but there's still 2 DPS remaining. JK, though, getting right-clicked by Yatara, not even boop, just absolutely silenced with that speaker. And now Spooty getting shut down. There's just too much damage coming out, and he's unable to stay in. Lango, though, pick up the slack. It's sliding his way right into the DMs. Gets 2 kills onto Yatara, and Reese is now raining hell from above and trying to break this bubble and then find Ziltor on the other side of it. Without any takes left onto the point, it's going to be hard for Party to do much work once he gets onto it, and immediately he does go down, does take out Honeybee. That's not going to be enough, and it will be a capture here from Forsaken.
Yeah, Lango's showing up. I mixed up names last time, but it's Lango and Rampikes that are a very good co-op right here coming into Forsaken's composition. It was a little surprising considering they weren't running Pharah almost at all, but right into this Lijiang map, they're showing that it looks like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely, and they're thankfully they are knowing exactly what they need to do here. But Landgull showing Party that he's not the only one who can get boop kills here, taking out Yatara and then picking up Reese's, looking like a harder fight for Infamous to win here. They're having a lot of trouble and struggling on this version of Lijiang. I thought this would go in the way of Infamous, but it's all Forsaken here as they have a complete control at this point. They have ultimate advantage. They're looking strong. And so far, they're able to handle this triple DPS composition, which looked like it was going to have a little bit of an advantage at first. But without the added tanks, without the added big bodies in the point, they're having trouble staying alive for these longer fights. Spooty with a Diva Bomb from downtown, finding Party in open air. And that's going to be a great shot to get this fight going as they get a couple more one more kill to make it a couple from Rampikes on the Iku, as Iku is risking himself to get a Party back into the fight. And it might not be enough as Zafkiel getting on the board, getting rid of Reese's, getting demeched is Spooty from Zeke, but that's probably just one kill they're going to get for the remainder of this fight, as no more damage and playmakers are left remaining. JK should get cleaned up here, and this actually could be a stagger that would be very helpful for the side of iNFAMOUS, but they're unable to even do that much. And yeah, so right now, just Forsaken looking good. Might be able to push this to a third round here on Lijiang. Now, iNFAMOUS, desperate times call for desperate measures. They throw down the barrier and the Transcendence barrier as a response to push in, and Zapkiel had a Transcendence in response. Reese is again delaying his blade just ever so to wait for the Transcendence to end a little bit. But again, he can only get one kill on the blade onto land goal, and then this land goal is immediately res anyway, so that completely just erases that blade's value. And then Party, though, finally has been silent almost this entire round, but he gets a double kill with the barrage, and that could be just enough, and indeed it is, for iNFAMOUS to finally get on the board in this second round of Lijiang.
Yeah, all ultimates down. It was definitely up to the first ultimate coming into that. And Forsaken, they put up a huge defense, making sure that every time there was an engagement, it was always them coming up first. Going into that fight, though, they just weren't able to continue that momentum. And now they still have 99%, though. So iNFAMOUS has to be a little bit careful in losing any form of defense here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they've already lost Reese's, but Ziltoid picking up Randpikes. It's a big loss, losing your Winston already, especially when Randpikes was close to Primal. But thankfully, Lango and JK making it look easy, and even Spooty getting a kill onto Ziltoid, getting a double kill. That's big, and they're making up for the fact they didn't have Randpikes at all in that fight, but it looks like they don't even need them. They can win this 5v6. Zapkiel and JK with a ton of work, and it looks like they should be able to push this to around 3. Just a last-second stagger here from Yatara. Ziltoid throwing down the Primal Rage, trying to get onto the point, but his team is dead. Sure, you can rage all you want, but that temper tantrum is not going to keep your team alive, unfortunately. Could it be a barrage that does so? Nope. Unfortunately, Party not able to stay alive and get any kills off that barrage. Spooty, though, getting a bunch of kills, gets 3 on the board, and even another barrage coming down from Landgoal, even though he gets killed with a pulse bomb from Zeke. It's not enough. We are going to a third and final round of Lijiang. And not only that, but this is a tournament, or could it be, thankfully it's not tournament, but it's match and set point here for both teams now. They've both taken a map, they've both taken a round of Lijiang. This is the ultimate decider here, JJ.
Yep, anybody who wins here is officially the winner of their own week 1, and I gotta say, to have 2 teams week 1 so I suppose equally matched is definitely exciting coming up for this season.
Yeah, definitely. This is so very even. I love that. It's a great way to kick off the season. I mean, who knows how far either of these teams are going to get throughout the remainder of season 6. So this could be indicative of a lot here, and could be constantly looking out for each other as the weeks go on. But either way, at least in terms of point contention. But either way, already out of the gate, Forsaken is rushing hard on iNFAMOUS. And iNFAMOUS is already having to be relegated back towards their spawn. Even though Zex gets land goal, it's a pretty obviously good trade here on the side of Forsaken, as they should be able to complete and hold this first point capture.
Yeah, beautiful attack. I mean, Lango, even though he went out very fast initially, him against Moira's orbs is doing very well to add a little bit of extra DPS to the team that they need.
Yeah, and this is more kills coming out from the side of Forsaken, and then a very quick Graviton from Spooty. Only getting 1 kill. I mean, he got help combined for maybe 2 or 3 full ones there, but not a ton of kills. Probably not the most necessary Graviton, but Spooty is just showing that he's having no trouble building the Grav, and that's a big problem that the entirety of Unforsaken is coming into here, is that they're allowing iNFAMOUS to come in here, is that Forsaken is building a lot of ult off of them, and they're getting close to now matching ultimates again. Here comes a Riptire, though, being popped out from JK to try and stifle this little bit of push here, as the Coalescence was for some reason popped by Yatara. Reese's does clean up the Riptire, but the Coalescence is popped before they push up. A Graviton again catching the entirety of the red team here from Spooty, but from Zeke. But Zeke is unable to actually convert any kills here, so Spooty not really getting mirrored here in terms of grab usage. Definitely having an advantage. A very odd Coalescence coming out as well from Yatara, but it looks like they should be able to put a lot of contention onto this point. However, probably not as many kills as they need, as Lango getting 2 on the blade. Party, though, responding with 2 kills of his own from the barrage, and then they should be able to complete this just in time as these reses come in from Honeybee. iNFAMOUS finally getting on the board here on this third variation of Lijiang Tower, and then the fight is still continuing as Rampikes is clobbering Zeke, and then Lango gets the pick off onto Moira from Yatara. Reese's is now kind of lingering on the outside of the point, trying to look for a sneaky kill in the back. Can't clean up Lango, unfortunately. It is going to be now coalesced by this Graviton, absolutely bodied. The rest of the team's going to go down, and Forsaken should be able to get this back into control here, JJ.
Yeah, the supports are able to just move around, be very sneaky over on Forsaken, that the DPS just aren't able to keep up with them, and the DPS on Forsaken are just able to deal so much more damage, so much more picks than iNFAMOUS is able to do right now. And right now, it's just concising the attack. Right now, already 72%, and it's not looking very well for iNFAMOUS.
No, not at all. iNFAMOUS very now close to losing this set after taking an advantage earlier in the set, earlier in the night. Another coalescence from Yatara. Let's see if this is what they need for iNFAMOUS to come in and try and get back onto the point here. But it may be, again, another early coalescence on Earth Shatter, though, putting Zeke on his back, and then Reese picks up the kill. Another one, too, when a Riptire actually gets stifled by Reese's Langle. Another one blade, and it's going to get rezzed anyway. I'm sorry, no, he got the kill on the Eco, so no res coming out. It's going to be reses from Honeybee as he gets the Valkyrie, and it looks like this should be it. Forsaken should be able to take us, and indeed they do. Holding on and taking Lijiang entirely, and Forsaken will take the set. Our first match in the entirety of 2018, Season 6 UGC Overwatch. It'll be Forsaken taking this set 2-1 after taking Lijiang 2-1 as well.
I mean, I gotta say, it's good to see that we've got yet another pretty high contender here. Probably we're gonna be seeing these guys heading to the playoffs, as we did see iNFAMOUS do the same, but who knows? There's a lot of other teams out there.
I feel like this could have gone either way, so I think big things are going to come out from both of these teams. I really would love to see more of iNFAMOUS. Guys like Party and Ziltoid and others really did very well. Even Reese's doing it, I would say, outstanding players on this team. But unfortunately, Forsaken had it all together and were clutch when it mattered the most. So they will be taking this first set of UGC Overwatch Season 6, Week 1, with a 2-1 scoreline. Congratulations to Forsaken for doing so. iNFAMOUS, they will leave this fight beleaguered a little bit and battered, but they still have a whole rest of the season to come back and build up some more points.
Yeah, again, I mean, it's barely the beginning of this season, week 1, and we've got so many weeks going on ahead. A lot of amazing teams coming back and a lot of new teams showing what they got. I mean, coming into playoffs, I imagine it's going to look great, just like Owen. If anybody wants to see more, come visit us sometimes Wednesday, but mostly on Thursdays, somewhere around this time. Most teams compete on a default time, and I hope you guys join us again. Go over to @UGC League on Twitter if you'd like to see more updates, maybe knowing exactly when teams are going to fight, or join us on Discord, over on the UGC Discord.
Sounds good. All right, everyone. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I've been Rapture with JJ here on UGC Overwatch. This is Season 6 NA Gold Week 1. And congrats to Forsaken for that win. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week with some more UGC Overwatch. Have a good night.
See you guys.